our story is so powerful. We all have powerful stories. But what it makes it so impactful is when you turn it and you start using that story to help other women or other people. Because a story is a story. Oh, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. No, what did you do with that pain? What did you do with that struggle? Turn it around. Help other people. Now that's a true story. Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Fearless Woman podcast. My name is Lorena and I am your Fearless Authenticity Coach. And today we are in for a treat because we have the most incredible, she is one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. We have with us Denise Copeland, which is the founder of Fearless Women, which, as you know, is a nonprofit organization that helps and supports women all around the world in their growth and their healing. And Denise is just a regular girl, regular woman, just like you and I, that went ahead to do extraordinary things. She had a very tough childhood and life, and instead of being a victim and feeling sorry for herself and just let everything go, she turned her pain into her purpose, and she turned it into help, into love. She transformed everything in a place that it can help everybody and inspire others and make us realize that no matter what happened to us, we always have a choice. We have the choice to feel sorry for us, or we have the choice to take our struggles as a learning lesson and to use it for service to others. So there's so many things about Denise. So I am just going to let her introduce herself. So without further ado, Denise Copeland. I'm so happy.
Hi, Lorena. Thank you. I'm happy I'm here.
Yes, we made it.
Yes. That was a great introduction, actually.
That's less than you deserve, that's for sure. But I would love for you to say a little bit about yourself. I'm sure I have missed something, so then our audience gets to know you a little better as well.
Sure. So I am Denise Copeland. I am an entrepreneur. Been into business for 5 years. Just recently did Fearless Woman and was born. Just shy of a year, pretty soon. Just a few more days. Oh my goodness. So through that, I've gone through my self-healing and went through some things from being broken and suffering from depression, anxiety, and to just wanting more for myself and actually putting that on the side and saying, no, I'm going to focus on what I want, my goals, my dreams. And well, here we are. Oh, and did I mention I'm a life coach as well?
That's right. You're a life coach. And that's how we met. Denise and I got certified from the same school, from Shetty Certification School. And she also has a healthcare business. So how do you incorporate those two businesses together, Denise?
So when I started with the program, I was trying to figure out how I can implement that. And I thought about, since I work with doctors and actually owners of their own groups and practices, I figured that I could probably do it for their staff. But I didn't want to have that responsibility. So I usually just go ahead and the providers, they come to me for consultation, for business consultation in their office, but I also help them in how to be a better leader and a better listener. Never, and just mainly more for the staff, because they have a passion for being a doctor and taking care of their patients. So sometimes that is not what is lacking.
Mm.
A doctor is a doctor and takes care of the patient. Some of them do need a little bit of help with when it comes to managing the staff or managing the everyday of their business. So I also, when we have meetings, I like to incorporate really, I know it's usually we all want our business to grow, but besides that, personally, what is it that you want to focus on? And many hasn't haven't focused on their self and what they want personally because they've been so focused on growing their business. And I have been able to really open that up and really do it. And I didn't even notice I was doing it until I did it. I'm like, oh wait, this was just I was coaching them. So
It's funny
it works
how.
very well.
Yes, and I thank you for that because I have had experiences with doctors that, we go to a doctors and we have, we're stressed and we're in pain, and sometimes we don't feel that connection with the doctor, and we feel scared and we feel alone. But it's not because they are not nice. It's because sometimes they don't know how to express their feelings. And I feel that's what someone like you comes in when you have that relationship with the doctors, and you remind them what is the why behind what they do and what do they want for their patients and their staff. So thank you for that. And it's funny how things fall into place, without even planning it. It's almost in God's hand, right?
Yes, 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 definitely.
Yes, and I know you are just like me and a lot of the people that works in your organization. You have a lot of faith. You believe in something bigger. And can you please tell us what has been for you? What's your connection with the divine, with God, with nature, and how does relate to your purpose?
Um, Thank you for that question. Thank you so much. Because it's a very good question. And it's definitely dear to my heart. As a little girl, I had always had this connection um, in with God, and sometimes to we don't know how to cultivate it. We don't know we can. Okay, for example, for many years, I've been a Christian. You know, I believe that I know that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and I believe in Him, and He is in my heart. So for many years, being a Christian, I went um, to church on Sundays, and I will worship, and I will listen to the sermon, and I will take it in. And through my week, I will pray here and there. I will still, I will talk to God in prayer. I really didn't open my Bible much to learn about Him, um, because for me at that time it was more about feeling Him than it was about knowing Him. And it wasn't until a year and a half ago that I really put everything aside, and I knew that there was something. And actually it started when I started with um with the certification with Shetty. I knew that I was walking into my purpose, and I had done a lot of healing, and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? you know, because even though, yes, we still in an ongoing process in healing, um, but a lot of my major trauma has been taken care of. And I knew that once I heal, I believe wholeheartedly that once you heal from something is when you actually are able to share it without being emotional, without being a trigger, and you're able to project that to the person you're trying to help. So I was I was like, what do I do now? And so I found myself into just dipping more into God, going more into what He is all about. And reading the Bible was something that um, I wanted to know more, but oh my gosh, I have always been want not to listen, not to read a book, but to listen to a book. And I felt very bad about listening to the Bible. Um, but it wasn't until recently that I found myself actually, I listen to the same version of the Bible, but I also read it along because my mind wanders a lot and I did not want it that. And but anyways, bring it back to it. Um, I started just not having one foot in and one foot out, but having both foot in. And it's not until that you actually walk into the purpose that God has for you that you can actually experience heaven on earth.
Yeah.
Once you have and saying, you know, this is it and this is how I'm going. So it's been like that since about a year or so. Um, it's been rough because I'm trying to change. Um, but I know that it's not that I had to change because I was a Christian, but as my walk became stronger with God and my faith with God, the change was happening without me noticing. So, you know, one of the things that I never thought that I would, it was just having a glass of wine. I never thought that I would. And I'm not saying, I mean, anybody can have a glass of wine. I mean, a Christian can have a glass of wine. But for me in my heart, I felt that God said that was it, no more. So I haven't missed it. You know, it's just the change has been great. Um, my anxiety has gone with it. My depression has gone with it. Um, you know, yeah. So that's just I I really leave everything to him 100%. And when I see myself that I'm worrying, I have to remember that I have to worship before I worry.
Yeah.
And yeah. And by the way, he is my CEO of my company, so we go through everything, and he has blessed me. You know, I pray when when I'm going into new contracts and new clients and what is best for me and what's not. So
Yes, and I agree with you 100%. I think that faith and hope keep us going. It gives us meaning. And like you said, once you connect with God and you start walking your purpose, you know what, like you said, like I felt that just one glass was enough, or I felt it's because we're connected. And I'm Christian. I grew up Catholic. I believe in God. Like I have conversations. Like I don't read the Bible all the time as well, but I have continuous conversations with God, like all the time. And I ask and I laugh. I feel like God has a sense of humor as well, and
yeah,
He is inside us. So the work is not trying to find God somewhere else. It's just to know that it's inside us and to trust and take away the things that don't serve us, that they come more from ego, because it's God and then there is ego, is this protection mechanism that we have. And it's hard, especially for people that, like you, for example, that had so many struggles growing up, because we create so many things to protect ourselves. But how strong is your faith and your heart that you were able to be like, I'm just going to trust, even that everything that happened, And listen, and of course, we don't wish like anyone to go through terrible struggles and such strong challenges. But you were able to find the gift and the opportunity in what you went through. And you came out the other side like so strong and with such a power and knowledge to share your truth with people, which I feel like is so important that we are vulnerable, right? Were you always vulnerable about your life?
Um, I think to certain people, probably. I have always said that I've been an open book. I don't mind sharing some things, and I know that even before when I was in when I was not healed from it, I will see myself crying about depending what we were talking about. Um, but I think in times I want to say I was vulnerable, unless I felt that I was going to be hurt, then I will keep it and I wouldn't share. But for the most part, I've been just very open, that I can remember.
Yeah, it seems to me that you are very vulnerable. And talking about vulnerability, do you think that you can tell us a little bit of the story of Denise since she was a child?
No, well, um, well, one of the things that I definitely need to say is that um, I find myself being very successful, and it's not because everybody has a meaning of success, and but I have gotten to a place that I feel very comfortable where I'm at, but it has never been this comfortable before. It came through a lot of struggles, um, from being married for 17 years and having a pretty much a tough marriage, not having a voice, not being able to speak up, and kind of like becoming like the other person, because it was how they wanted or what they wanted to do. It was more of them than me. And then going into the marriage actually being broken, but sometimes we just don't know all of these things until we're ready for awakening.
Yes.
But I was so broken. I have gone through abandonment issues, rejection, depression, being sexually molested as a child, and like right before my marriage, going through an abortion. That was the hardest thing that I did. Took 10 years to kind of like let that go, which at the end, it was me forgiving myself because God had already forgave me.
Yeah.
It was me forgiving myself. So that took some time. But I never knew, like I knew that there was something else for me. Like I felt it. Like there's so much more for me. I'm so much capable. But I just felt like that it wasn't for me. That it was probably just a dream, and a dream that will never come to reality, because that was it.
So
That if
no, sorry, continue.
no, it's like if something was gonna go wrong, it would have been for me. That's how I felt.
Yeah, because you went in your marriage already broken. Do you think that all the events in your childhood you carry into your marriage because you went into your marriage without being healed yet?
Oh, yes. And then through my marriage, I was probably shattered. I mean, it was not, it was, mm, I don't know. I think like marriage for me was so important. Um, and I never wanted to, like, if we were argue, we went into, there would never be the word divorce because this is going to be forever. We were going to grow old, have grandkids, and all of that. And that was not the case. So that really, when it ended, even though I knew it was the best thing for me, the best thing for my kids, it was very hard because I already have plans of the forever. I had no plans of the if doesn't work. So I was going into my 40s now being single. And that was not easy either. Because, I'm like for almost 20 years of being a wife and now going into singleness, I didn't know what that was. That was a little bit of cultural shock, finding all these apps and all these texts and when we were getting to know each other, um, it was just coming out the text messages, and it was at that point that you were paying per minute. It was not unlimited text; it was per minute. So we didn't do all that too much, but it was more phone calls, Um, so it was kind of it was hard. It was just hard to adjust. Um, but I was able, like now I can see a lot of the things. Once you're able to see your life in reverse, you can understand why it had to happen. Now you can see where your purpose is starting to come along and all the things that you had to do. So, I was a Christian when I was married. So I knew how to be a Christian wife. Um, once through the divorce, we kind of like separated. I separated from God, from the church, and I was not, once in a while I would say a prayer. Um, but it wasn't until I knew, because when God starts, God will finish. So I knew I had to go back to God. I knew that I was not going to get married until I made sure I chose Him first. Um, until I really put Him first, because it's still, even my purpose is still unveiling. I still, like I see it, but I don't see it, type of thing. And so I knew that I'm gonna have to, if I'm going to help women, or if I was going to preach, or I was going to help other Christians be either a Christian wife or a Christian single woman, I needed to become also a Christian single woman. So being a Christian wife was pretty easy. Being a single Christian woman is a little bit harder. I don't know. That's for me. That's for what I was living. But even still now, like regardless of it, I'm just, things happens in my life, things happens with my kids and my personal. Regardless of it, it's just there is a purpose. There's always things that happen for a reason. And for many years when I was younger, I was kind of like upset with my dad for leaving me, because I thought that if he would have had stayed in my life, it would have had been a different. I would have had a different outcome.
Yeah.
Uh, but I had to become to the understanding that probably not. And now, and I can say if he wasn't in my life, it was definitely for a reason.
Yeah.
you know so there were some, there were still many arguments with my mom. There was still, he was an alcoholic. I mean, there was so many things that could have happened. So I just believe and trust that what happened was what needed to happen.
Yes, and it's difficult because at the time we don't see that. We don't see that this is happening for us. But like you said, when we look back, we're like, oh, this is why this is happening, right? And I don't know what was the turning point in your marriage that created the split between you and your ex-husband. But for people out there, because what you're saying, like a lot of women think about that. A lot of us find ourselves in relationships that we know it doesn't feel right. It doesn't flow that, but we have the fear, like you said, is this right with God? And I have children and what's going to happen? Or I never been myself. And we just kind of go through it no matter what. And sometimes things have to happen, like it has to be the other person that leave us, or we just have to just be at the point that we cannot take it anymore. And however you got to that point, for what you say, it was you were lost a little bit, right? You felt like a little. So how were you able to become the person that you are right now? I know you talk about going through the certification was helpful, just coaching yourself. But if somebody out there is in a marriage that they cannot take anymore, and they want to leave a relationship, or they are being abused and they are scared, one, what will you say to them to inspire them, to love themselves and to do the right things for them? And also, once the separation happens, what are some tools that they can help us become whole again?
Okay. So I think it really all depends if you're in a relationship and you're married. There's so many things that it can be. If it is that the woman is being abused, or sometimes, in the beginning for me, I experienced some domestic violence. I stayed because I hoped that it was going to change. It did change and it stopped for a little bit. But the mental abuse and sometimes verbal abuse still stayed. But it was more of the mental abuse and the constant. I mean, by the time you're there in years, like it doesn't happen, because I hear a lot of women saying, "Oh, she can leave," or "I wouldn't let no man touch me," or any of that. I'm like, well, of course not. Nobody will want that if it happens the first week. But because you're there for weeks and months and years, it's a game, it's a brainwash. Before you know it, you're so sucked in, you didn't even know. So it is very hard, because most of them don't know. They're scared. Um, they're scared for their life. Um, they think that if they're going to leave, they're going to die.
Yeah.
Or their kids, because the threats. And sometimes we stay quiet.
Yeah.
But if we can make that one outreach to a person, to a person that we trust, to a person that can help us to get out. If we have that one connection,
Yeah.
they can help us. They can help them. And And I cannot tell you because I used to not say too much. I used to just keep it all. We had a rule: what happens in the house stays in the house.
Mm.
And there was a lot of things that happened in the house. Um, so I will say, if the woman is going through some type of abuse, reach out.
Yeah.
Reach out to one person that you know that is going to have your back and is going to help you, because there's ways to get it done.
Yeah, and when you also talk about it, it becomes real, because we keep so many things inside. But once we get it out there, we have to do something about it, right? So, who
Yeah.
was that person for you?
Well, that person was part of it. It was me, and I have to say, um, it was me because I've been through. I was through it. It was just really year after year, just really hoping that it was going to get better. But always every year, my voice kept on getting, um, it was not as loud. So the volume was going lower and lower and lower. And until it just didn't matter, you know. Um, my kids had to not witness as much, they were part of it as well too. So, I took time throughout my healing. I had to go and ask for forgiveness for all four of my kids for staying there too long, that it affected them. Um, and I needed to make sure that I forgave myself first, in order to be able to do that, for them. But also, I have a family member dear to my heart that I just recently heard her story about how hard it was, and and um, how she was just a person in her own home, and she owned things, but she couldn't go anywhere. Keys were hidden from her car. She couldn't use the phone. She didn't have an outlet, but she, for her, it was, there's this one time, this spark that came and says, I don't want this for my daughter. Because the other thing is, sometimes that we say that we want to stay in a marriage because of our kids. But actuality, because of your kids, you should know that you need to get out if it's that bad, because that's what we're teaching our kids. It's okay for mom to be beat up by dad, or it's okay for mom to talk very bad and diminish and minimize my dad. So so I think we have it wrong there as well. But anyway, this person said, I want something better for my daughter. And she found a way to be able to reach that one person, and created a plan. And it was not easy. And it took a lot of courage from her to just do this. And I'm glad that she did, because now she's living her best life with her daughter, with her son, and her new husband. So it's the courage, it's very hard sometimes, to get that courage, and just with everything that it could have been said to us, and not believe that we're not strong enough, but we are. Because God did not put us in earth to be bound by anything.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yes, I feel like normally it's just all the things that we've been told or that they happen to us in childhood that we keep carrying them. And that makes us scared. We think that we cannot, but we need to remember we're not 5, we're not 7 anymore. We can make our own decisions, and sometimes we just have to go for it, like even if it's scary, because that's what courage is, doing the thing even that is scary. And like you said, it's so important for moms to understand that you do not want your children to be in an environment that's stressful, that is hurtful, that's disrespectful, because like you said, then they're going to think that's normal. And when you were talking, I hear you talk about forgiveness. So obviously you were talking about how you forgave yourself. And were you able to forgive as well people that hurt you in your childhood or marriage?
Yes, I have been able to forgive every single one of them. Um, I had to, you
Yeah.
know, especially coming from a Christian perspective, you're asking God to forgive you. How can you ask for forgiveness and you don't give forgiveness?
Yeah.
You know? So forgiveness is such a big tool that allows you to move on in life. Um, you know, sometimes it probably hasn't, it could have, and sometimes it feels like you're not able to forgive, or it doesn't seem like you have to say I forgive them over and over again.
Mm.
But it's just saying I forgive them and I choose to move on.
Mm.
You know, we it's incredible because we have the power for everything, from our emotions, for our way that we are, the way that we act, the things that we say. It's just we have full control. It's not about I feel or this or that, because feelings, depending, if you're angry, you're going to think one way about the situation. If you're happy, you will think about another way. If you're sad, so you know, I forget. I'm a very forgiving person because I believe that is so much needed in order to move on. Uh, if I mention somebody and I roll my eyes, I know there's still something there, and I'm like,
Oh, don't
I'm
say
like,
that.
okay.
I've seen
And I'm
myself
like,
rolling my eyes a couple of times in the past month or so.
so I'm like, I try to like, oh, forgive me, God. Okay, I forgive him. I forgive him. Yes, I did forgive him. And sometimes I'm like, ugh, they're just so annoying, but
I know.
um, but yeah,
And like forgiveness is not for others, really, is for us. I don't think we can heal if we don't forgive, because we need to forgive people that hurt us, right? Like all the people that hurt us, like they're throwing stuff at us and rock at us, or like garbage bags, and for us not to forgive is to continue our life carrying those rocks, carrying those garbages. So yes, of course, we liberate this person that hurt us in a way, but mostly it's for us. Like, why are we going to keep carrying that weight, those rocks, that garbage? um, we're never going to be able to take off, to fly, right? To find our
yeah.
purpose that way. And it's
I
difficult, but
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
no. I said that is difficult, but we need to, first of all, know what we want our life to be, right? Like having the awareness, and then forgiveness, and forgiveness of yourself and others, and then acceptance is all part of the process. This is why I feel like life coaching is so powerful, because you said it. We have the power to do whatever we want, right? And life coaching is just that. It's like a light that show us who we are, like show us our power. It's like, oh, look at that. I can do that. It's not that we are advising our clients in what we did or what they should do. It's like, look, you can do it. What do you want to do about that? So anyone can do it, and we don't diminish anything because it's so hard It's a process. Sometimes we get to a point that we got to get in our knees and be like, God, please tell me what to do, right? Tell me which way to go, guide me. I give you full permission to take me where I have to go. And it takes work. But like you said, we can reach out or either to ourselves, like you said, reaching out to ourselves could be like journaling, praying, writing, anything, that you can see what's happening, taking all the inside outside and see it, or reaching out, or a friend, somebody that cannot judge you and is not biased in our situation, or a life coach, somebody that, just wants the best for you and knows nothing else about your life. And those are just fantastic tools. Will you say that, no, what was the moment that made you turn into life coaching? Was it like one moment, or it was just little steps leading to that?
Um, to be honest, I really don't know. I just know that my healing started probably, I want to say probably a year and a half after I separated and then got divorced through that process as well. And I I did it because at first I wanted to go ahead and start, I wanted to go back to my faith. Um, and I started listening to sermons. I will listen a little bit of motivational speaking as well, from other speakers. And little by little, you know, I started seeing myself just thinking differently and doing different and acting a certain way to, when things arise, and I was able to, kind of like little bit help here and there. And through my marriage, I actually had anxiety, and then I was on anti-anxiety pill for like 6 years. And this disclaimer, I'm not saying this, do this and get off your meds, because it's not, because this is what worked for me. But I was able to, through all this work that I did and listening, I was able to get off my meds because I was able to handle anxiety. But I also had an aha moment that I realized that I needed to remember I never suffered from anxiety before until my marriage. So my anxiety was born in my marriage. I am not married anymore. I am not in that place anymore. Why am I still suffering for anxiety? So with that aha moment and everything that I learned from, I was able to wing off from my medication and not be on medication. And I remember the first time I had an anxiety attack was through COVID, and I think some of us did as well too. And I was scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening to my heart? What's happening? My blood pressure. Oh my gosh, what's going on? And I'm like, girl, you're having an anxiety attack. So, I forgot what it felt like. I didn't know the symptoms. I have forgotten about the symptoms, and I realized. So, I try. I'm not going to tell you. There's sometimes where I feel anxious or I am anxious, but I don't have that anxiety. Something happened, and I don't know the outcome. I don't create scenarios in my head for plan A, B, C, or D. Because at the end of the day, I probably don't need any of those. Or I won't even need to come up with a plan. So I don't plan for a situation. So once I realize, is it a yes or no, depending on what it is, then I adjust accordingly. I'm going to have an idea, but I'm not going to sit down and think about what is the next step. Okay, so if that doesn't happen, this is plan B. Yeah, I don't waste my energy or my strength in thinking like that. And it's hard because I used to not think like that, but with practice and it just feels better. And sometimes I have my kids or somebody saying, "What are you going to do?" I don't know. I'm just going to wait until they call me or I know what's going to happen, and then I move forward.
Yes. I used to be like you as well. And it's like we create this, and how much freedom you feel when you are like, I don't know, let's see what happens. And when you do it and you feel it, because maybe 2 years ago I would have been like, oh my God, I need to have so many alternative plans and I need to know exactly what's going to happen. If not, but we cannot live
Yeah.
in our past or in our future because there is none of that. We are always going to be in the present, and we cannot create our future based in our past, and we cannot be in the past to there is nothing there. We have to be here and make the decisions from here and take it step by step and to believe and start telling ourselves stories that works for us, empowering stories, no stories about self-pity or like things that they could go wrong, because we believe our own stories and our stories become our reality, right?
Yes.
So when your coaching clients come to you with similar, because I feel like as coaches, our clients are mostly like a former version of ourselves, right? Do you agree with that?
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah. So, what are some steps that you guide your clients to start their healing process?
Well, it kind of depends on what they're looking for, but I had someone that came to me one time. She was feeling depressed.
Mhm.
And I can see kind of like the gradual step from session 1, 2, and 3. And session 1, it was just in your pajamas, hair not done, saying, "I'm sorry, I just feel very depressed." And then, you know, what I did with her was trying to figure out what was making her depressed. Um, and we were able to find out that, if I remember correctly, she was searching for how she was at peace. So at that moment, I asked her, "So what can we do to start making you feel a little bit better? What is your peace? What is your moment?" And I think she just mentioned something about having the kitchen clean or something like that. So we started with steps, on how can we get that accomplished. And that happened. And the following week, she was able to, I think she was able to wash her hair. It was very bad. It was very bad. So she was able to wash her hair, and she was not in her pajamas anymore, and she was in just casual clothes. And um, by the third session, she had her hair done. She had nice clothes. You can see just a transformation. And sometimes, and you just said something that some people choose to live in the past, choose to live in the future. So you live in the past, you're going to be depressed. You live in the future, you're going to have anxiety.
Yep.
That's why it's so important to live in the present.
Yes.
And and I like, and anybody that encounters me, I tell them to do the opposite of how they feel. So if it's being depressed, do the opposite of that. You know,
Even if he's
feeling
cleaning
down.
the kitchen, even if he's cleaning the kitchen, because it
And you
starts
know,
like that. It's like, what makes you peaceful? Clean the kitchen, do more of that. What else? Doing gardening, do more of that. We'll see you next week. Let's see what happens.
yeah. And then, and I know sometimes it's hard for people that are having an episode because they can't get up. I was there. And that was one of the reasons that I needed to, by the time that I started my business, I needed to manage my depression because I could not just stay in bed and call out from work because every day matters. That's how I got paid. If I didn't go to work, I wouldn't get paid. And so I had to start little by little tricking my mind, making, if it was a list of 3 things, as long as I check it off and started getting some of those happy hormones, they can, kind of like start tricking my mind. Oh, wait, what is this? Oh, I'm liking this. The check off hormones. I can't remember. I get them all confused.
I love that. I think that making, and I could, if I will turn this camera around, you will see all sizes of lists everywhere. I mean, it's embarrassing, but for me, it's like that. I'm going to make a list. And like you said, Denise, you said something earlier before we start recording about having 2 or 3 lists. Absolutely things, emergency that need to be done, things that could be done later, and things that if they are not done, I'm not going to die. So we start, and when we start checking things out, I feel like, I did it.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
like you said, it's a hormone that kicks in.
Yes, and those are the happy hormones, and it started making you release some of those hormones, and then you start feeling better, exercising. Definitely your diet. Your diet can actually help you go faster into depression if we're not eating healthy. Um, I suffer from depression, and it was so many things, multiple things that happened. Going back from when my father left, and the rejection issues, and mending my heart from the first person that broke my heart, which it was my dad. But I remember, you get in those depressive modes, and then you start eating just comfort food. But comfort food later on is just going to get you more into depression. Or even drinking, you get just a few minutes or a few hours of being happy, but the following day you feel even worse. So it's really a conscious mind, like saying, I want better for myself, and do it. And that's how I look for my healing. I want better for myself. I want better for me, for my kids. And it was not hard trying to overcome everything that happened, but I was so determined. Every time I got triggered, I would go back to find out what happened. How can I link? What did somebody did to me that I have to go through the process and kind of like reprogram how I do things or how I think about it. Even me going into entrepreneurship and having my own business, I studied those that made it happen. I studied those that are successful, like mimic those. And I did it. I will wake up. I still wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and I spend time with God, and then I start my day. And sometimes I love the routine. I told you,
Yes.
I love the routine, the structure of it, and definitely, if I don't spend the time with God in the morning, I'm like, I feel that something is missing. because it really sets my day off in the right direction. I always thank God for everything that I've done, everything um, that I have, for the change in me, for where I'm at, and I usually say thank you for this very moment. And it's just starting your day with gratitude.
Gratitude always is such a powerful tool. And I read that when you are in gratitude, when you are grateful, there is no space for anything else. So whenever I'm in a bad situation, I'm trying to think, okay, I don't have this is happening, but what am I grateful for right now? And something happens. It's like you go because, when you are in a saboteur mode, you're in your left brain. And when you're in the gratitude, you're in your right brain, which is, the feminine side, and just switches. You cannot be in both brains at the same time. So easy awareness and morning routines are so incredible. And we know that we're talking some maybe to women that they went through what you are going through, and that nothing is easy. And we know that, but baby tiny little step and how you set up your morning routine sometimes is the night before. Okay, I know it's going to be hard to get up, but I want to first pray or meditate. Is some kind of practice that connects you with yourself. That's magic, I feel, in the moment, like you said, with your mom and with God. And then the night before, if you want to exercise, just leave your sneakers there. Just leave something healthy in the front of the fridge so you don't grab something else to have for breakfast. And little by little, and then drink your water and then be grateful. All these tiny things with time, they add up. And then one day you're going to be like, wow, what is it? I'm just feeling so much better. And then, sometimes we have to reach out to coaches or to reach out to Fearless Woman. I mean, like, what inspired you to create this incredible organization?
Well, going through J Shetty certification school, they have a community that it doesn't matter that we're all miles and miles away from each other. There was a sense of closeness and a sense of togetherness. Many of us created bonds with other people, just literally, the other part of the world. And I just picture a place like that for women that that can use that community. That sometimes, because even before that, I lived by myself, um, and I had people, but I didn't. Or what is it like? I had people, I had family, but I still felt alone. And it was so great that sometimes we did Zoom calls, and yes, it will be about school, but it will also be like, how are you doing? How are you feeling today? What's going on? And some of us became so personal. It was like, how are your kids doing? And you know, and that was just so great. And I just wonder, how would it feel to have a community that women are able to, when they feel lonely or when they feel alone or when they feel just exhausted or defeated, where they can actually have a lifeline, line where they can be communicating with other people, that have been through it, been through something, had healed from it, or they're able to share their story. And our story is so powerful. We all have powerful stories. But what it makes it so impactful is when you turn it and you start using that story to help other women or other people. Because a story is a story. Oh, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. No, what did you do with that pain? What did you do with that struggle? Turn it around. Help other people. Now that's a true story. That's impactful.
Mm.
So I see that, and I I wanted to help people, but I needed to help myself. So um, I created that. I turned it around. I'm like, I am not that person. I am what I say I am going to do, be, and I kept on doing it. And sometimes I will tell people I was going to do something just so I can hold myself accountable.
Yeah.
You told this person you were going to do such and so, so and so.
Yeah. That's a great way to hold
So,
yourself accountable, just putting yourself out there.
yeah, so I did that a couple of times just to make sure I did it. Um, but, I was tired of being where I was. I was tired of getting paid X amount of money and not being able to get an increase. I was tired of not being able to help my kids. And little by little, it started with listening, like I mentioned too, when I was able to heal from anxiety. It was just podcasts. There's so much on YouTube. There's so much out there. So many books. If people are not healed, it's because they choose not to.
Well, they
Because
don't know
every
any, yeah, they don't know any better. That's where someone like you and your organization comes in, is starting the
Yeah,
process of believing in yourself and that you have the power.
yes, and but there's just so much out there. Just like I found it, many can find it.
Yeah.
And if we can share this story, that they can see, other women can see, I've been through it, or I went through depression. I don't suffer from depression. Doesn't mean that I'm not sad once in a while. Sometimes I feel like I can go into depression, but I pull myself right back out because I choose not to be there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
community is very important to keep you, because self-growth and heal is a continuation. It's not that we're going to be like, oh, now I'm healed and I'm just going to let all my learning and my practices go. No, it's an ongoing process. Life is just like being aware and having the intention of being joyful, of helping others. And helping others for me is the best antidepressant. Every time that I can make someone smile
yes,
or help them, I mean, I'm happy for days at a time. Nothing can do that. Doesn't matter what they give you, what you win, no, because that's it. And you feel it, that is right, because your body tells you that. It's a feeling that's different. It's our purpose. We are all given a gift before we come to this earth. We just have to find is there. We just have to find it and to get rid of all the things that happen to us and all the ideas that society put in our head, even our own family, that they don't know any better. But it's like, okay, this is my gift, and I just need to figure it out. How am I going to share this gift to make a difference? And that is going to change your life around. And I love it because Fearless Women keeps growing. And I'm just so excited. By the way, like when I saw what you were doing, Denise, I just called Denise and I just wrote everybody in Fearless Women. I'm like, what do I need to do to be a part of this movement? Because I feel like it's so beautiful and so necessary that we all have stories. We all had challenges, you, me, everybody in this community. And we decide to make something beautiful about this. And Fearless keeps growing. Like we're going to have like a conference next year. And when people listen to this, and because what happened, I feel like now we have another platform, right? Is everybody able to join circles, Fearless Women Circle? Anybody can join?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Anybody can join. Hopefully, by the time it airs, we will have it out. Um, but don't know exactly how that will look like. Um, this is new. Like I know Circle as a user. I don't know Circle as an admin user. So so hopefully it will be that they can still sign up for through going into our website and putting their email address, how they will do for the Zoom calls, so they can get the emails. And then we will go ahead and share that. Um, it can be a link. To be honest, I really don't know how it looks like, but I know it will be on Instagram, Facebook, with instructions on how to get into the circle community for fearless women.
Yes, I feel like it's going to be even, it can be even bigger. But even right now, Fearless is a safe space where you can show up and talk and share your story without judgment. And you are around people that went through so many different struggles. Between the 12 of us, we're 12 coaches, and we all went through something different. So you can be heard, you can speak your truth. And even now that the platform is in the works, you can join Fearless Woman for free workshops. You can get pro bono coaching. Which other ways people can take advantage of this organization that you created?
I'm just definitely just staying connected and always being attending the seminars and being able to get coaching and also going through YouTube, all the podcasts of so many different coaches, their stories, how, depending on their niche and how they can help different people, different women's and different situations. But yes, hopefully, Circle platform will be up shortly. I know it will be up by August. But just like you said, a judge-free zone place, and where somebody might be going through something and they just need to just let it out, and the community comes together. And to be honest, this moment, this platform has been the vision. So I'm excited that it's happening. So, and it's free of charge, and anybody is welcome. And also, they'll be able to communicate with us as well too. So yes, I'm excited.
So excited. I have so many questions. I know we're over time, but hang around, guys. It's just very important. So
If anything, we can do part two.
Exactly. Maybe we have to break it down. But so for somebody that's listening to this and goes like, okay, I need that. I need that community. I need coaching. I need these free webinars. And the coaches that give these webinars are just so amazing. So what is the easiest way? Let's say I'm like, okay, because we mentioned, YouTube and Facebook. And so if we want, what is the easiest way for us to connect and to make sure that we are up to date with the dates of the workshops and in how to connect? Is it Instagram? Is it our website? Can you please tell our audience, like, what is the easiest way for them to be able to take the full advantage right now until Circle is up?
At this very moment, I want to say it will probably be Instagram or Facebook. The website is up and running as well, but we definitely are constantly doing things and posting things on Instagram and Facebook. The messages, they can DM us, and one of us will take care of it. But there's always somebody, definitely always somebody on Instagram that can reach out to the person that is sending us a message.
Like direct messages as well. So tell us the Instagram handle and the Facebook and the website URLs, just in case. again?
So the Instagram handle is at Fearless Women 2023.
Okay.
Uh, Facebook is Fearless Woman. And then we have the website, which is thefearlesswoman.org. And then YouTube is Fearless Woman 2023.
All right, perfect. So there's many ways. I personally feel that Instagram is the easiest one, but that's just because it's the platform that I go the most, and it's so fun because lately I've been able to see all the behind the scenes of the coaches, of all of 12 of us coaches for a week, and it's just so amazing because we get to connect, we get to see the real side, the human side of the coaches, the people that will be working with you and having this deep, beautiful conversation, and just be listening to you, you know. So make sure that you don't forget, that you connect, that you reach out. And before we go, Denise, which I'm up for phase two whenever you want to, by the way, chapter two with Denise. Um, I would like, first, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. Do you have any role models that they inspire you in this journey of yours of healing and helping?
Well, that's kind of funny you ask, because I had two role models in my life. Oh, okay. Let me take that back. It was not in my life. When I was going through my journey, there was two role models. But it came to the point that I was actually able to see some of the things that they were struggling with at that point. And and I'm not saying that you get to a point that you supersede somebody else or anything, but it gets to a point that you're so equipped with so much self-help that you did for yourself that you're now able to see it on others. And I was able to see what they were dealing with, what they were struggling with, what they triggered with, and to be honest, I didn't want it then.
Mm,
They stopped being my role model, and I said, "Well, I'm my own role model."
that's it. I like that.
So I came to the conclusion that I am my own role model. I inspire. I It's not, I guess it sounds kind of corny when you say that you inspire yourself, but if knowing where I came from and where I'm at, yes, I'm very proud of myself. Um, and I want to continue to do better. So I got to a point that I just said I really don't have a role model.
You're
That
following
that will
your own role model, which is that piece of God inside you that has all the
yeah.
answers. Isn't that true? Or God, or I mean, I know that we all have different beliefs and different faith, but it's the hope that there is something bigger, because of course there is something bigger in this beautiful,
There is something bigger,
magic life.
yes.
And you said something before we start recording as well, that heaven is on earth. Is what we make of life. We can tell our story in a way that we live in heaven, and we can tell the story of ourselves in a way that we're in hell. So what story you want to write for yourself?
Mm,
You know, and like you said,
exactly.
the intention, what do you want? Set the intention and just go for it, and trust that all the little signs and serendipity of life are going to guide you on your way. Oh, this was so beautiful. And I have two little questions for you, just to get to know you a little
Yeah.
bit, Denise. Indulge me. So if you were able to give a message to a 6-year-old Denise, what will you say to her?
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. This is definitely putting me on the spot.
Well, you can say no.
But no, I think I need to answer that. Um, I will. I'm thinking I will probably let her know. You will go through many struggles in life, and you will go through many disappointments, but it will build you to become this woman of strength, of resilience, of empowerment that will be able to support others. Um, so definitely, I will say that.
That's
I
beautiful.
will warn her that there's a lot coming your way, but at the end, it will it will kind of like pay off.
Yeah, you made it. You're here. You made it to 100% of all of your struggles. So those words are beautiful encouragement words for Denise and little Denise. So let me ask you the last question. So if we go forward in time until you're 110 years old, because we're going to live so long, uh, and you see Denise like wiser and healthy and older, and you ask her, wiser Denise, tell me what's important. What do I need to focus on and what is not important? What will Denise, wiser, older Denise say?
Um, I think. Well, I don't know. I'm assuming this is the way that I think. I think I will say always create memories. I love creating memories. I love creating new experiences. Um, because you know, it's for me. You go through your everyday life and you work and you get up and you do this and you go to the grocery store and this and that. Yeah, we can find the good moments within that. And but do things out of the ordinary with your family, with your kids, with your grandkids. You know, um, it's definitely that. I think creating memories, that's something that nobody can take away from you.
Yes, it's what's inside. Nothing can take away that, the memories. And at the end of the day, what Wiser Denise is saying, like, live every moment, enjoy it, and create beautiful moments right here, right now. It doesn't have to be grandiose. Life is in the little details. And take a mental picture of it and bring it with you because that's for you. Nobody can take that away. And
Yes, yes.
and what's not important? What is something that wiser, older Denise will say, don't worry about this?
Um, I'll probably say, once some of the issues arises, don't worry until the situation presents in front of you. You know, worry when you have to make a decision. Make a decision at that point, because you will know all all the things that to make a proper decision. Before that, just continue to live your life.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like it all comes down to the same. Just be in the moment and don't make crazy stories. Just trust life. I heard once, my meditation guru told me once, you can relax to the point that you trust in life.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right. Well, this
yeah.
is coming to an end, and I am so grateful that you were here, that you share your stories with us. I am humble, I am inspired, I am excited for what's to come, and I really hope that all of you fearless tribe of ours. Get connected and jump right in, and just know that you guys have a space of women that want to share the story, want to listen to you, and we want to be the ambassadors of a better life for us, just to pass a better life to our children, our grandchildren. So please don't hesitate to reach Fearless Woman. And Denise, where can people find you personally? Do you have a personal account where people can reach out to you, write a message to you, or is all through Fearless Women?
I'm pretty much all too fearless woman. But I do have an Instagram that is Fearless Path. So when we stay with the fearless,
All
because
right, yes.
God didn't give you a spirit of fear, so we live fearlessly.
Yes, fearless. That's living in love, right? The absence of fear is love. I love it. Thank you so much, Denise. And let me know if you want to do a part two. We set it up together. And for you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We are so lucky that you're here, and we cannot wait to get closer and to share our stories together. Have a great day.
Bye bye.
Bye.